Let me quickly introduce to you and acknowledge some of the dignitaries who are here with us this evening, and then we will get a formal introduction of Dr. Sakara underway before he shares with us his policy agenda. We've got representatives of the various political parties who have been nominated by their parties to be here with us this evening, including the CPP itself. Perhaps I'll start with Mr. Ivor Greenstreet, General Secretary of the CPP. Good evening, sir. Let's acknowledge him with a round of applause. Mrs. Susan Iduamankwa is the first Vice Chairperson. She's here. Let's welcome her as well. Professor Ajiman Bedu Akosa is with the CPP. Is here. Let's welcome him as well. Lawyer Bright Akwete is here with us. We have been pleased to have with us Mr. Peter McMenu of the New Patriotic Party. Let's welcome him as well with a round of applause. The presidential candidate of the PNC, is not his time yet, but he's here with us as well. Mr. Hassan Ayariga, let's acknowledge him. Alhaji Ramadan is here. Bernard Mona is here with us. We've got representatives of the NDC who are here with us. Let's acknowledge them as well with a round of applause. The 2012 IEA Presidential Debate Committee members are here. Justice Emil Short is here. Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah is here. Mr. Kofi Asamoah is here. Let's welcome all of them with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We are privileged also to have with us representatives of various organized institutions who will be leading the questioning from their own institutions: the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, the Trades Union Congress, the Ghana Mental Health Association, the Labor Research Institute, the Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors of Ghana, the Peasant Farmers Association, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the Ghana Journalists Association, the Ghana Medical Association, CDD Ghana, Imani Ghana, Yes Ghana, and a number of other institutions. At this juncture, please join me welcome the Communications Director of the CPP, Niama Akomfra, to formally introduce to us Dr. Abu Sakara, who will then take a seat and give us a 20-minute uninterrupted presentation of his policy agenda. Let's welcome Ni with a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, Dr. Michael Abu Sakara Foster, who is he? He is of the successor generation, coming to the helm of national affairs. He is an agronomist with a PhD in applied agricultural botany, an accomplished practitioner of innovations, research for development in agriculture. He has over 28 years' experience of project management and institutional representation roles in several renowned international agricultural development agencies. He has been stationed on long-term assignments in 5 countries: Nigeria, Mexico, Zambia, Tanzania, and Uganda. He has visited over 40 countries on 4 continents for work assignments related to agriculture and rural development. He has a multidimensional understanding of agronomic innovations in national and institutional strategic policy for poverty alleviation and economic growth. He has multifaceted capacity for formulation and implementation of agricultural advisory systems. He has hands-on experience and skills for development of multi-purpose farmers' institutions as innovation platforms for assessing services. He has led multidisciplinary teams comprising social, economic, and biological scientists to formulate and implement programs that support national agricultural service systems to increase productivity and income from smallholder farmers. He speaks 7 languages, including Swahili, French, and Spanish. He is a member of several associations, including the African Crop Science Society, American Society of Agronomy, Soil Science Society of East and Southern Africa. He has several journal articles, symposium proceedings, technical manuals to his name. He is committed to rebuilding the great Convention People's Party to provide Ghanaians an alternative choice to our 2 main opponents of the CPP. He contested in the 2000 elections CPP Congress and won a position as first national vice chairperson of the CPP. He was the vice presidential candidate on the CPP ticket in 2008. I give you a proven professional with tangible achievements, a family man, married with 4 children, an affable man, an international man with indigenous roots, a pragmatic intellectual, an accomplished professional, proven service to the community. He's a mature politician of the successor generation. Above all, he's in touch with the youth. I give you no other person than Dr. Michael Abu Sakara Foster, popularly known as Dr. Abu Sakara.
At this point, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sakara will deliver to us an uninterrupted 20-minute presentation, after which we can interrupt him with applause. Kindly resume your seats.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank the IEA for this opportunity to share with my fellow countrymen and women the vision of the Convention People's Party. We have a long track record, and we will go into that later. I want to acknowledge the presence of the presidential candidate of the PNC and the entourage, and thank them for coming to support us on this occasion. I also thank my fellow comrades and colleagues, my senior comrades, who have made it possible for a successor generation to come to the helm of affairs at this time in Ghana. We also warmly welcome our fellow comrades from the two other divides, the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to begin by putting into context what it is that the CPP wants to do. But we must first tell our story as a nation. Where have we come from? Where are we going? What do we need to do to get there? And what lessons have we learned from our 55 years as an independent nation? To have any interventions without this background would be to risk repeating the same mistakes that we have made in the past. I begin by stating clearly that I share in the CPP's vision to establish in Ghana a strong society in which no one will have anxiety about the basic means of life, about work, shelter, food, where poverty and illiteracy are no longer exist, and disease is brought under control, and where our educational facilities provide all the children of Ghana with the best possible opportunities for development of their potentialities. This vision of our founding fathers remains as relevant today as when it was first conceived. For our generation, we face pretty much the same challenges. The main difference is that Ghana, which was once on its way to being a shining example of a self-reliant nation that Africans will build, is now only a shadow of its former confident self. The essential software to run the nation is patriotism, born of selfless commitment to the pursuit of a national agenda. We must ask the question, have we really been pursuing a national agenda in the last 20, 30 years? Or have we been pursuing our own parochial partisan interests, trying to prove who has the best ideas, not towards the building of a nation, but towards the maintenance of power and privilege? The infrastructure which we need, the hardware, we inherited. but that has been neglected, and it has not kept pace with our needs. In summary, the opportunity for advancement at a critical moment in time when the world was more idealistic has been lost. Now we face the tide of globalism, the ruthlessness of market-led forces, which leave no stone unturned to establish national interests. Amidst this all, my comrades and I are determined to make Ghana once more the pinnacle of Africans' achievement, to demonstrate that Africans are indeed capable of managing their own affairs well. To achieve this, we must find a new way forward. I want to share with you the background of where we've come from. Any proper and honest assessment of Ghana's condition today clearly shows that unemployment and unaffordably high living costs are the twin banes of our society. You talk to anyone and they tell you jobs. We need jobs. Those who have jobs are concerned about real incomes, the diminishing capacity of their incomes to maintain the standard of living they were once used to. Together, these two banes drive the insecurity, frustration, and hopelessness that are pervasive in our communities, especially amongst our young people. We must do something for the young generation in our time. The mass of our people today, 90%, live between abject poverty and the verge of civility on meager rations of less than 10 Ghana cedis a day. The remaining 10% live very well, and we thank God for that. But what about the rest? This wide gap between those who have and who have not, is that acceptable? We all know the kind of society that this death of poverty can lead to, and we must avoid it. Amidst the euphoria of appreciable oil flows and a fast-growing economy, the illusion of middle income status is punctured by one stark reality, that only 5% of people have access to modern toilets, and 90% do not have access to modern toilets, or any toilets at all. Where then are the middle-income people who live without toilets? We must ask ourselves whether these fundamental problems can be solved and whether we are committed to solving them. In this regard, we must also take a good assessment of where we are as a nation. To be fourth in the world, the fourth worst in the world, with access to toilets, and second only after Niger, should make everyone sit up. There's something fundamentally wrong. In spite of the much vaunted economic growth and incremental gains reported annually, many of our people simply do not have access to clean water, sufficient food, or adequate nutritious value, basic health care, and education. As a nation, we are failing to prepare the human resources required for a knowledge-based technological economy. In 2011, 53% of pupils taking the BECE exams failed to go to secondary school. And on average, only 20% of the pupils entering primary school reach SHS, and only 3% of those reach university level. As a nation, our poorest people cannot afford NHIS subscription, whether on one time or not. Maternal mortality is unacceptably high at 350 deaths for every 1,000 live births. Those who survive join the rest of us amidst protein deficiency, living in poor sanitary conditions, and afflicted by avoidable diseases. Together, we're all gripped in a web of poverty that is spanned by poor decisions, lack of patriotism and rampant corruption, insatiable greed, and gross indiscipline. The sad reality is that increasingly many more of our comrades will never have access to these basic necessities of life for as long as we keep on the track that we have taken, a purely market-led development economy at this stage of our development. We are not arguing against a market-led economy. We are simply saying that the institutions that support it and the conditions that support it must exist, and none of those people who proposed it used it at a time when they didn't have the institutions to support it. I believe it was only so many years ago that Margaret Thatcher came into the UK itself to begin to reform many of the state-led enterprises that provided the bulk of Britain's economy. Many other European countries, and those we admire today, have all used the state-led enterprise approach to get to a stage where there was a sufficient and robust economy to go into global competition. We are doing it at a stage of a nascent, fledgling economy that cannot withstand the tide of globalization. And we wonder why we are receding in our progress. Our basic thesis in the Convention People's Party, therefore, is that the state must take an active, a proactive, and aggressive role in ensuring that we put in place institutions and structures that will not only grow our economy, but support our own private sector to compete in the marketplace. This is the responsibility of a state, and those are the actions of responsible governance. For many of us, to simply say that private sector is the engine of growth, and therefore you should release everybody to their own devices, it's like sitting on a motorcycle without holding the handlebars. You can neither give it power or direction. And this is not what we want as a nation at this time. And the evidence before us is that we are not making the kind of progress we should be making, and more to the point, we have lost a lot of valuable time in building the kind of economy that will be reliant and productive. Our strategy, therefore, is based on a paradigm of stronger state intervention to restore our productive capacity. We will therefore create jobs with real incomes and at the least maintain internationally acceptable minimum standards of living for our people. This will be achieved by significantly increased investments in our agriculture to increase productivity and also provide opportunity for the emergence of strong agro-processing interventions to be followed by investments in targeted areas that will enhance our manufacturing capacity. It is only then that we will have growth with development. Currently, we have growth without development. Naturally, many of you will ask, is the CPP once again about to intervene in managing state enterprises? Our answer to that is time has moved on. We will do what we can to ensure that those investments are made in consultation with stakeholders in the private sector to